Hello and welcome to Original Bad Bob. I'm Bob coming to you live from the noisiest city in Europe, Madrid. Madrid is not only noisy because of non-stop construction, street noise, and other aspects, but because of the culture. For example, if a Spaniard comes home and is wearing hard shoes in an apartment building, they're going to stomp around in those hard shoes, keeping everybody below them conscious of their every movement. And that's just the culture of the country, and that's the way it goes. Okay, what's going on? Trump is winning in many, many ways, and right now he's enjoying a 49% favorability rating. Now, that's very good. It's not an approval rating and it's not a disapproval. Favorability is the mood of the country. At the same time, the Democrat Congress has a 31% favorability rating, which is an 18-point spread. So technically, we could assume Joe Biden would fit in that same category at the 31% favorability and would lose to Trump in a technical landslide, which is what will happen if he doesn't drop out. Now, non-stop MSM attacks are ongoing, and every chance they get, they hammer on Donald Trump. Now, before this coronavirus hit the United States, unemployment was around 3.5%. Black, Latino, Asian, and women, more women were working than men. More women working than men. Things were going really great in the country. Jobs were coming back from Asia, and manufacturing was growing, and it's all sorts of good things. But they're not going to talk about that. The MSM only says that Trump is dangerous, and of course we have the FBI and their hoax investigations. And for example, Peter Strzok said Trump should lose 1 million to 0. 1 million to 0. That's the FBI agent who participated in the coup against Donald Trump. Now, Orange Man Bad is about the best Democrats have been able to come up with, but I do have my own axe to grind with Donald Trump. I would like to see him fire Dr. Anthony Fauci. Fauci's dangerous. Now, we just posted about him at the Carnegie Center, where he was photographed with Bill Gates, George Soros, Ted Turner, and a bunch of other globalists who all have their own agendas. And George Soros is one of the most dangerous with his open borders philanthropy. Okay, they're hoping to keep this coronavirus thing going into the November election. And it looks like Anthony Fauci could let that happen. Now, Texas just went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court unanimously agreed that mail-in voting is unconstitutional or whatever, and they said, no, you can go to the polls. But blue states and red states will have different attitudes, and their Supreme Courts may have different attitudes as well. So we really have to keep an eye on this mail-in voting thing, because even though I have to mail in my ballot, you might not have to mail yours, and if you can get to the polls, please, by all means, do. You know, before Trump got into politics, he was in Hollywood, hotel business, he was a swinger playboy, and he was kind of a womanizer, and he was a classic liberal. Now, a classic liberal is what we call a libertarian today. A libertarian is someone who believes in your own determination and the determination of states. That's why states like Colorado and others that have legalized marijuana, Washington State being another, he hasn't intervened. He hasn't sent the feds to rip out all the plants or anything. He's left it alone. He really doesn't care about it because he is, in fact, a classic liberal. He's not a right-winger, as he's being painted. He's very centered. Now, Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the presumptive nominee, and he's kind of a yes man. That's why Obama liked him, because he'd agree to anything. And of course, he was crooked as hell in the Ukraine and China businesses. He exploited them, and he's going to be under investigation, as far as we know, for the Ukraine affair with Burisma Gas. And Sarah Carter's been talking about that quite a bit. And we've also been following John Solomon, another great investigative reporter. Another thing about Joe Biden, which why we call him Creepy Joe, is because he's perverted. You see him touching girls' hairs. He just was reported talking to a 14-year-old girl about her breasts. Now, 14-year-old girls are very sensitive about their anatomy, and a dirty old man like that, even bringing up the topic is not acceptable. But he does suffer dementia. Joe Biden has Alzheimer's. He couldn't debate Trump for 1 hour, much less stand the rigors of an office, working 18 or 20 hours a day at times. It's a very tough job. However, Hillary Clinton could. Not only does Hillary Clinton could get into office, she could do it. Of course, it would be a pay-for-play White House, and she would go back to her old ways of, well, if you want an appointment with the president, you have to give to her foundation. And that's the way it was when she was Secretary of State. If you wanted an appointment, and if you wanted priority to see Hillary, you had to be a Clinton Foundation donor, such as Australia. And that's a long story. But Hillary wants it really bad. And we're going to close with saying, never, never, never say never. She said that in November here in London, not far from me. And I found that the most profound thing she's ever said, because it wasn't just never, never, never say never, but it was with the intensity. So with that, I'm going to close. I thank you very, very much for watching. God bless. I'm going to run along.